Hello everybody and welcome back to another Magic Duels gameplay video. Today we're going to go ahead and look at the Elf deck, the mono green Elf deck. Elvish Might. The Elves are always an incredibly powerful type in Magic. So real quick, let's take a look at what cards I'm running. The Jadi Offshoot for a little bit of defense and also life gain for 1 mana. Can be pretty nice. Not an elf, but hey. Sunblade Elf. A nice 1/1 that can use your mana up if you need to buff all your creatures. And there is a little bit of white in this deck for this ability, for the Sunblade Elf specifically. But most of the cards are pretty much green anyway. I think all the cards are green, but there is a little bit of white just for the Sunblade Elf's abilities. And of course we got a couple cards to buff the creatures here depending on lands and the number of creatures. This deck produces a lot of creatures. Sylvan Advocate is always a great elf. 2/3 for only 2 mana, so it's already got very nice value. Dwayne's Elite, which can create an extra elf for you, and so you always want to play it after you've got an elf on the field. The classic Elvish Visionary, which draws you a card. Another great elf you can use as a chump blocker or to trigger all your elf synergies. I've got Plummet in the deck as just an easy green way to get rid of flyers. Of course, Nissa as an elf can grab an extra green source. And once in a while, if you're lucky, you can transform her and use her abilities. The Tireless Tracker is not an elf, but incredibly valuable in any green deck. It's definitely our card draw engine, basically, and can become a big creature. Reclamation Sage is great for destroying enchantments or artifacts that your opponents control. Elemental Bond is a one-off here that also is a bit of a card draw engine, since I felt the deck needed a little bit more of that, and there are a lot of creatures that trigger it. Wild Size is a nice one to draw more cards as well as buff a creature that gets blocked when you're attacking. Nissa's Pilgrimage is just to grab some mana. You can grab 3 actually if you've got Spell Mastery enabled, 3 extra forests. Here we have Dwayne, which is awesome, giving all other elves +1/+1, and she has reach. And we gain life for every attacking elf, including Dwayne herself. So a pretty awesome Lord character. One of the key pieces of the deck, of course, is this Elf Warrior, Lys Alana Huntmaster, which makes more elf tokens whenever you play an elf creature. And of course, you want to play this and then play all your cheap elves afterward to make tokens. An Elf Shaman here. The Empath can search up a creature. If you want to find another elf, if your hand is kind of lacking in that department. The Bellower is not an elf, but it's a nice big extra creature that you can throw onto the field, and you get another elf creature that you can grab and put it onto the battlefield as well, which can trigger all the other elves. And then there's a one-off Ulvenwald Hydra, which is not an elf, but a nice big creature with reach, since the deck does need a little bit of help with reach with flying creatures. And I've got just 5 plains, just splashing a little bit of white, 12 forests. We've got Westville Abbey, of course, because there's lots of tokens that we can sacrifice to it. Blighted Steep is great because you can sacrifice it to gain health, depending on the number of creatures you have, and so that's a lot sometimes. It can be a huge health boost with this, even though it's a colorless land. It can be quite useful because of the number of creatures we have, and once it takes a little while to get this deck going. And of course the Rogue's Passage is if you need to send something through unblockable to finish the game. So let's go ahead and try out a few games with this deck. Here we go, the power of the elves. By the way, we'll probably go ahead and do 3 rounds here to show off how the deck works. And then we're going to do a two-headed giant round with my good buddy Wild Boar. So if you want to see this in action with two-headed giant, you can feel free to skip these parts of the video if you wish. I'm going to go ahead and start with the offshoot here. But yeah, pretty much every card in the deck is green. The only reason there's a couple plains in here is for the Sunblade Elf. That's pretty much the only purpose for the plains in the deck. And the Sunblade Elf gets +1/+1 if there's a plains, so that's why you were running a plains. Oh, and he's going to cancel it. That's okay. I've got more of those. But yeah, the deck is kind of a mix because I found that it suffered from flyers. If the opponent's got a lot of flyers, you know, they're going to run over you pretty quick before you can get all your elves going. So that's why I've added some reach creatures that are not elves, as well as a few copies of Plummet and stuff, just to balance the deck out. And you know, I kind of designed decks so that they're made for all types, depending on what kind of opponent you're going to play. So let's get the Huntmaster going here as soon as possible. Sometimes it doesn't stay, since it's a pretty valuable elf. So a lot of times, you know, your opponent's going to try to take it out because it can get out of hand very quickly. But hopefully I can stick a couple of these. Surprisingly, I drew 3 of them. So see, there's a flyer. So like before you get all your elves going, like I said, let's get the offshoot out here, and then I can play land, get 2 health. You know, an opponent that's got a lot of flyers can run over you very quickly. So we'll make our first token, and now whenever we play some elves, we'll make 2 tokens instead of 1. Hopefully we can get this other one out here and have 3 tokens going. But yeah, you can amass an army of elves very quickly, but you know, they're 1/1s, so it is possible for the opponent to mow you down with flyers. Hence, I've got the reach and some of the other cards for dealing with flyers like we have here. I already have to deal with some flyers. I don't expect Dwayne to live, but yeah, I'm going to go ahead while the opponent's tapped out and get this 3rd one out there. And as you can see, we're starting to amass quite a bit of elves. I don't want to attack because he can just double block. And the 3/3s are incredibly valuable. But yeah, I'm going to take a bit of a beating here in the air. Hopefully I can get Dwynn to stick. She'll give everything +1/+1. So that makes a lot of the elf tokens much more dangerous. Ooh, Caracal is not what I wanted to see. It's always a good card to balance out the round. And as you can see, these defenders are good at, you know, the early game, gaining me some life. So we're going to make 3 elf tokens. And everything's going to get buffed. And of course, Dwayne is a reach creature, so at least I can hold off some of his reach, or some of his flyers, I mean. But I don't expect her to survive. A lot of times she'll either get bounced or, you know, killed. Yeah, so he's not going to attack, knowing that pretty much guaranteed losing one of his flyers. But yeah, this is a problem. Okay, Westville Abbey was a great draw. We can just go ahead and use this now. Sacrifice 5 creatures, and once again, this is why this land is in the deck. You've got plenty of tokens you can sacrifice, because we can always make more. And we can just transform this guy into our 9/7 lifelink, indestructible, profaned prince. And yeah, you may want to keep it on defense, you know, depending on your situation, because it is an indestructible lifelink per, but if I just keep attacking with it, you know, he may be forced to chump block it and I'm gaining 9 life off of it each time. Okay, well, let me try to destroy this creature, since that's the one that makes all his tokens fly. But yeah, he's just gonna bring it back from the graveyard, embalm it. So that creature's annoying because it makes all tokens fly, which is why he's got so many flyers there. Can't quite play the Tireless Tracker and sacrifice my land, but I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing this because I'm gaining 9 every time. It's just going to let it through, huh? So yeah, once again, this is kind of a good showcasing. Yikes, 2 of those is not cool. So that's a lot of flying cats with vigilance and lifelink. But yeah, I wanted to showcase one of the situations that I've often found myself in. If the opponent, you know, has lots of flyers, this deck needs some anti-flying cards. So hopefully I can kill this 2/3 this time. I'm not sure why he's attacking with that 2/1. Oh, that's why. You know, Ketra's name. That's bad for me. So yeah, that was unfortunate. I lost my Dwayne's, so we're going to sacrifice this, gain a bunch of life. You gain 2 life for each creature you control. And I'll go ahead and make a token here, a clue, and sacrifice that and draw another card. So the Tireless Tracker, while not being an elf, is a great card draw engine in the deck. I think I'm just going to keep the pressure up here. He's got plenty of chump blockers, but so he's just going to let it through. Yeah, so I need to draw another one of my Dwayne's here. Or some more elves would be good. Make some more tokens. But yeah, since all of those have a vigilance, you can pretty much attack unopposed, and yeah, he's gaining life. So it's just going to be a back and forth here. Ooh, and a god. We could be in trouble. Okay. Let's play the land out to gain 2 life. I can draw a card. Primal Bellows is good. Oh, the Bellower is also very good. Leave shields down on the Primal Bellows, but that's okay. So let's see what makes sense. Reclamation Sage, there's really nothing for him to, nothing for me to destroy. Dwayne's Elite would give me 2 Elves. The Advocate probably is the best. And that gets put right into the battlefield. Since I have plenty of lands, it's a 4/5 with Vigilance, so pretty good blocker. And now I'm going to go ahead and keep my 9/7 Indestructible on defense here. Boy, yeah, he's got a lot of tokens here. We're kind of at a standstill, but yeah, this is where a god on the opponent's side usually isn't an issue, even though it's indestructible, because you got so many tokens you can just chump block with if need be. Okay, that's a redraw. Plus, make some tokens. Okay, another one, huh? No? And as you can see, the Blighted Steeps there is great for sacrificing because I get 2 life for every creature I control. And as you can see, that adds up pretty quick. Alright, that's one of my needed cards, a Plummet. Let's see. So this is the one that's problematic, because it's making all of his tokens fly. So even though it's not very big, it's the more problematic. So now you see all the cats are grounded again, so I've got good blocks on all of them. Now he's only got 2 flyers instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 that he had a minute ago. And I'm just going to play defense here for a minute and then overwhelm him. So yeah, all these tokens that he's making with his god also would have been flyers as well. So that's why I took that creature out. Hopefully he doesn't have another copy. But yeah, with these cards, the deck can actually hold its own against flyers. Wild size is great too. So I can probably make an attack here. I may just go ahead and buff this. We'll see what he does. It's just gonna let it through, huh? Okay. I'm just gonna wait and see what he does here. Keep these instants. Both of these in my hand are instants that you can quickly buff your creatures if need be. Wild size is a little pricey at 3 mana, but it also draws you a card, so once again it's to improve the card draw of the deck. If you don't have a tireless tracker out there or some other card draw engine. But yeah, we both got 2 formidable armies here. Okay, so he's just going to hit in the air. So the 3/6 god is a double striker. So I'm just going to go ahead and chump it. There's no point in saving my token, really. I could, but it's not really worth it. Go ahead and just sacrifice this at end of turn. Gain 2 life for every creature. So as you can see, it's kind of ridiculous. Alright, another Sunblade Elf is good. Make some more tokens to chump his god. And this time it sticks, so I can use its ability. I got plenty of mana here. Go ahead and start getting aggressive here, since I do have these buffs if he tries to double block or triple block something. Okay, he wants to kill my Bellower, huh? So let's kill the cat first. Oh wow. He does not like that Sylvan Advocate. So yeah, we want to kill the cat first, and then all the lifelinkers, and then these 2 vigilance ones. So let me buff the Advocate. Make it a 9/10. I don't know if that's going to be enough. And then the other one is Trample. So sadly they both got killed. He had enough blockers, but took out his cats. So he's only got 1 lifelinking cat remaining. Just going to keep making those 1/1s. Fortunately, I drew another Huntmaster. But yeah, 71 life. Even though there's kind of a board stall, we still have the upper hand here. And yeah, that's not going to end well for him. That's too aggressive. Just chump the 3/6 god double strike. Now his flyers are tapped. And yeah, with Rogue's Passage, I could make the 5/4 my Tireless Tracker unblockable. to push through damage. That's kind of why it's in the deck. Make one of your creatures unblockable if you've got kind of a board stall like this situation here. Hey, Nissa was a great draw too. That'll get me another land, as well as a planeswalker. And yeah, he's leaving himself open to this 9 damage every time. So we've had some back and forth this game with the lifelinkers, but he's out of lifelinkers. Except for that one single cat there, which doesn't have a good attack at all anymore. So I'm kind of surprised he's attacking with his flyers, since he needs to keep those back as blockers until he can find some kind of solution for the 9/7, like a bounce spell, which is really effective against Ormondal, the Profane Prince, the 9/7 indestructible there. Just bounce it back to your hand, and remember, originally it was a land. So it goes back to your hand as a land, and you'll have to re-sacrifice 5 creatures to flip it again. But as you can see in this deck, there's plenty of creatures to sacrifice, plenty of tokens. And we're going to make some more. Hopefully this Nissa stays. See if he's got a counterspell. Nope. Good. Grab a forest here. And Nissa will transform right away. So we've got our planeswalker here, so the pressure's on. She's also more card advantage. Keep that on top. Let's draw another card. There's really nothing to destroy with the Reclamation Sage. There we go. Sunblade Elf is always good. Make some more tokens. So yeah, definitely going off here. Showing the power of the elves. The elf army can amass an incredible army pretty easily. So yeah, I'm going to get a little bit more aggressive here since I have Primal Bellows. Alright. Let me go ahead and take out his last lifelinker, I think. The Guardian, these Vigilance guys, the Binding Mummy. I don't really care about this Labyrinth Guardian. So hopefully I can buff this enough to survive all that. If not, that's okay. 13, 12. Yeah, there we go. So that's why that's in the deck, to buff your creatures, and kind of works out for a great blowout on the opponent. And we're up to 81 life. Nissa is just a dominant planeswalker. The power of nature. And once again, this Reclamation Sage is great. You know, if maybe the opponent, say, puts an enchantment that shuts down one of your creatures, like Compulsory Rest, or one of those that, you know, makes it so they can't attack, can't block, and they're just sitting there. Okay, so he's going for Nissa. That's unfortunate. I could chump block the double striker, but yeah, I don't have any reach creatures, so sadly Nissa's gonna go. But yeah, now he doesn't have any aerial blockers left. So the Elite's good. That'll create us 3 more tokens, as well as itself, and another token, because the Elite itself makes tokens. Yeah, let's go ahead and finish him. Got plenty here. And just to be sure, I can activate the Sunblade Elf. Wow. So we'll activate this. That's why white is in the deck. buffing all my elves. And there he goes. But yeah, you could have seen if I had Dwayne still on the field, all of those elves would have been much bigger, and I would have gained life for every attacking elf. So it was a little ridiculous there. You get like 100 plus life. You know, this hand is really iffy just because of all the forests, but I do have two of my best creatures in my hand. And hopefully I'll draw some small elves in the meantime. That is not an elf, but hey. And then of course you want as many forests as possible in this deck to be out there for Primal Bellows and some of the buffs that look at your number of forests. We're not under too much pressure. You really want to play this Nissa's Pilgrimage, you know, when you have Spell Mastery, which isn't too hard to trigger in this deck, but that was the only 3 play I had, so I might as well do it and ramp here. Yeah, I'm a little worried he's keeping up blue mana, so may have a counter spell, but let's go ahead and try this. Yep, well, that was going to happen no matter what. Not much I could do about it. That was a hard counter, reduce. But I'd rather have that countered than Dwayne, so hopefully Dwayne will stick. Although 5/3, I don't really have anything to deal with that right now. I'm gonna get this out so it doesn't get countered. And I may have to chump here with the Visionary. Although it could probably take 5. Sylvan Advocate's good. That 5/3 has to attack every turn. It has no choice. Yeah, I could probably take it here once. I mean, 5 is a lot, but as you've seen, this deck has a lot of life gain. So I can probably make up for it. Well, we got Plummet, so we're good if Flyer shows up. Don't really need to put the planes out there until you have that elf. So I'll gain 2 life back here from Dwayne for the 2 attacking elves. The Sunblade elf, that's what I was thinking of. I forget all the names. It's like, I don't know how people memorize the names of all these cards. Seems like it would be a daunting task. I can't memorize all of them, but yeah, it's kind of a risky block, but hey, it seemed to work out. That is not a flyer, so I'm okay. Alright, Tireless Tracker was an excellent draw. That way we can get our card draw going. And start growing him. But yeah, even though he doesn't help with the elf synergies, the Tireless Tracker is great in just any of these green decks. Shoot. Forgot about that. He can cycle some cards. Hopefully he doesn't cycle. Nope, he's got another one. Bummer. So I'm going to lose Dwayne in. That's unfortunate. That creature gets big when he cycles cards. That 2/3 creature. I didn't think he would have 2 cards to cycle, but we're okay. We're in good shape. I can draw another Dwayne. I much prefer some of my token generators. Ooh, another one of those 5/3s. That could be a problem. There we go. Speak of the goddess. Not the devil, but the goddess. Oh, come on. Well, I probably should have expected that. Another hard counter, nothing I could do about it. Well, with Primal Bellows in hand, we can go ahead and do an attack here. Yeah, let's go ahead and save the Advocate. I was hoping he would not block both, and then I was just going to buff the one that he didn't block for the win, pretty much. But he was wise and blocked both of them. Oh, and there's a flyer, so time for Plummet to shine at instant speed. We'll just plummet that. And yeah, we pretty much have lethal on board here. Let's see what we can draw into. Only 3 creatures, don't really want to sacrifice the land for 6 life. There's a Westvale Abbey. Might as well though, because I'm going to end this. And that's the final attack. Let's go to the next one. Yeah, the Elves are a lot of fun. Really great powerhouse. And this is a pretty good opening hand. So we'll go ahead and show the Elves off one more time here. See what we're up against. And then we'll have a 2-headed giant round with the Elves and see how they work in multiplayer. 2 tireless trackers. That's nice. So a couple more lands would be good for the Huntmaster. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and get this Tireless Tracker going. Usually you want to play the Tireless Tracker on turn 4 so that you play him for 3 mana and then you play a mana right after. So he gets, or she, I think it's a she gets immediate value. Okay, the throne isn't really threatening. That's something I can destroy with the Reclamation Sage. So let's just go ahead and get both Tireless Trackers going while he's tapped out. Since, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm facing any counters. Like to get the valuable creatures as quick as possible on the board before there's a chance that they can get countered. Always wary seeing blue on the other side. Yeah, he's keeping up 3 mana, so may have a hard counter here. Be nice to get Nissa out there and grab an extra land. We'll go ahead and use this as bait. Okay, Splendid Agony. That's not too bad. I'm shrinking down my creatures. I'm going to destroy his enchantment here. I played that just in case he had a counter. And I can sacrifice one of these and get rid of the -1/-1 on my Tireless Trackers. Yeah, I just didn't want any of these valuable creatures in my hand to be countered. The Huntmaster is being probably one of the more valuable creatures in the deck. So yeah, he's going to have to do something. He needs blockers. He's already facing lethal on board. Well, yeah, sometimes the game can drag out. But usually the elves in the end will persevere just because of the sheer numbers and all the healing you've got, the card draw that you can get going. So not quite lethal. Suppose I could have attacked with the other small elves, but we'll go ahead and give him one more turn to live here. Oh shoot, never? That's bad. That's not enough to save him. So we'll just play out Nissa, make a token, just have a little bit of fun this turn. Search up a land. Play it out. Get another clue token, transform Nissa. Play out a Sylvan Advocate, make some more tokens. So yeah, the deck is pretty wild. All these elves are very persistent. And let's go ahead and draw another card just to see what we get. Plenty of extra card draw, plenty of lands, yeah. And I can even Primal Bellows something. This is a great card to use to buff one of your unblocked creatures to suddenly have lethal out of nowhere. Alright! And there he goes, the elves are triumphant as always. So let's go ahead and try this out in a two-headed giant round. Omatase! Thanks for waiting, but your wait is over. Here we go. Oh hey, we even got the awesome elf splash screen while we're loading in. So we're going to go ahead and do elves and two-headed giant with my partner Wild Boar. Not sure what deck he's going to be playing. We'll have to see. O tanoshimi. But the elves are quite good in two-headed giant. And this hand, sadly not a keeper. This hand does not have green mana, but yeah, I hate to mulligan. It is quite devastating to mulligan down to 6 or 5 in two-headed giant. So it looks like Wild Boar, my partner on the right, is using the vehicle deck, a deck that I'll be showing off too in the future. All the vehicles from Magic Duels. Vehicles and artifacts, I guess. It's kind of a mix, since artifacts and vehicles kind of go together. Like he's got the Foundry creature there in his hand, which gives all your artifacts +1/+1, and that includes vehicles, since vehicles are artifacts. And man, I'm like literally drawing my only planes in the deck. Like there's only 5 in the entire deck, and I've drawn 2 of them already. So that's really annoying. That's not what I want. The rest of my hand is great, but yeah, I need a green. So usually this predicament doesn't happen because there's way more green in the deck, as you saw. But yeah, occasionally you'll have a bout of unluck, and those 4/3s are a problem. They're going to hit hard. But Wild Boar played Fevered Visions out. Man, I still can't get my land. My goodness. I drew all the utility lands and the ones I don't need. But that's why Two-Headed Giant is nice, because you know, your ally can help hold off the opponent, If you're like mana screwed or mana flooded, if one side is having trouble, one side can hold it off, and if you work together, you can still win. It's all about teamwork. But yeah, this Fevered Visions, it's already doing damage. I'm gonna have to discard something already. Don't think I'll be playing the Hydra this game, sadly, but it is a great creature, and I did draw my green source. But yeah, the reason the opponent's damaged is that Fevered Visions does 2 damage every turn, and it's doubled, so it's doing 4 damage per turn. So it's an incredibly great card in Two-Headed Giant. As I've shown in several of my other videos, some of my other decks use Fevered Visions there. Wild Boar's side, if you're wondering what I'm talking about. So he's going to go ahead and chump. Since, yeah, taking 8 damage every turn is pretty bad. As soon as I can get some of my elves going, I can chump block for days, but yeah, I've been stuck. So there he's taking more damage. Okay, so now I'm drawing my green sources at least. Ooh, and he's going to play a siege modification on his boat, making it a 10-11 first strike. I'm going to go ahead and get my Sylvan Advocate out here, since pretty soon it's going to be bigger. So Wild Boar is deciding if he wants to attack, so he's going to keep the 10-11 on defense. Since it's first strike, it's an incredibly great and powerful blocker. But yeah, that's why the vehicle deck has the siege modification in it, so you can make that giant dreadnought ship into a 10-11 and you don't even have to crew it, because its crew cost is really high. But with the siege modification on it, it becomes a creature permanently and you never have to crew it. So the opponent across from me has the Stinger there. That's a problem. If that thing dies, he'll get to move all those -1/-1 counters somewhere. Makes for a good chump blocker. He'll probably put all the -1 counters on the Dreadnought that Wild Boar has, the 10-11. Okay, well, I'm slowly getting my green sources back online here. So I'm going to go ahead and play this out since I already have an elf, make a token. I could draw, but I may just want to keep up some of my buffs here. Sadly, I don't really have a good attack. Wild Boar has a good attack if he wants with the 10-11, but it's going to keep it on defense for now. Since I'm finally getting my elves going here on the board, we just need to hold off the opponent for a while. Another Stinger, that's a problem. Yeah, and he's going to put him there. So there, oh, he's going to kill the 1/4. That creature would have drawn quite a few extra cards for Wild Boar, but he's got another one in hand, so no big loss. Although, wow, he's got a bunch of those 5/3 Juggernauts, which have to attack, so they're going to be attacking into his first strike creature, which will not end well for the opponent. And I can always buff something at instant speed if I need to. But I don't think he can do 11 damage. So Wild Boar is going to block, since it's first strike. Yeah. Sadly, that creature had no choice. I was thinking of maybe drawing a card. That's why I paused the game there, but I decided I wanted to keep my buff we'll go ahead and do this. I can destroy his 5/3 because the Reclamation Sage is awesome like that. Not that it was really necessary, but I don't think he'll be playing any other artifacts. There we go. The Jadi offshoot can provide us some extra life. But I think I'm going to hold on to it here because I want to keep up a couple of my buffs just in case. So Wild Boar is deciding if he wants to attack this turn or not with his 10-11. We're still facing some pretty big creatures here. So he decided not to attack. We're just going to kind of hold the fort here for a minute. Got a couple of copies of Plummet in my hand, so if any flyers show up, they'll be toast. Ooh, Liliana. That can be a problem, making lots of zombies, as Liliana often does, so he is gonna make a zombie. It can be pretty effective against the elf deck too, because that Liliana's ultimate says destroy all non-zombie creatures. And of course elves are non-zombies, so it's a single-sided board wipe. I'm surprised he played out another one of those 5/3s, since it doesn't have any good attacks at all. Technically, he could push some damage. We'll see how the opponent attacks, because he's guaranteed to lose something to the first striker. So yeah, that's why that Dreadnought is quite a powerful vehicle. For 1 mana, even though its crew cost is super high, as long as you can add the enchantment to it. So Fevered Visions, Wild Boar chose to damage Liliana instead of the opponent's face. I'm going to go ahead and get the offshoot out here, and probably the Tireless Tracker, in the hopes that I can draw some land. Wild Boar is going to play another vehicle, and the Reckless Fireweaver is going to start doing damage. He did it to Liliana again. Another great thing about the Fireweaver, you can choose your target, either the opponent, or you can choose a Planeswalker. So that time he did the opponent. And he's going to crew the Heart of Kiran, which has Vigilance and Haste as well. So he can attack right away. And he's gonna go ahead and take out Liliana, so I'm gonna attack the opponent's face since I have a buff here. If he wants to try and double block me or triple block me, we'll see. A couple 4/5s. Okay. That's 8 damage. So I'll do this one. So it's nice to have the choice. This buffs me the number of creatures I control instead of the number of lands. So if you've got more creatures than lands, you can, buff, or vice versa with Primal Bellows. So it gives some nice variety there. So I get to keep my creature. We got rid of his Planeswalker. So that was a pretty good turn for us. And we get to draw. Hey, there's my Elven Lord, Dwaynen, right on time. So we'll have to get her out there. Buff all my elves. Nice play from the opponent, sacrificing his own zombie to do damage to us. That does 2, by the way, instead of 1 in Two-Headed Giant. Because that 5/4 says whenever a zombie dies, do 1 damage to each opponent. And he's got the 4/6 Black God, which is indestructible and can only attack if something's been sacrificed. It also has Menace, so it can be kind of annoying, but we could chump block it all day. So I'm not too worried about that. In my sacrifice deck playthrough, it was pretty funny. The opponent played that exact same god, and I stole the god from him and attacked him with it and then sacrificed it. So he has to attack us with that 5/3, no choice. And a Wild Boar will just block it here with his first striking Dreadnought. That ship has put in quite a bit of work this game. I don't think there's any need for me to put a chump blocker there in its way either. Unless he's got some kind of... I don't think he's got a buff that can make it big enough to survive 11. Should be okay. I was just thinking maybe with an extra creature, if he had some kind of sacrifice effect or something, it might be good to double block, but we're good. Wow, another offshoot. Okay, well, that'll start gaining us a lot of life. Go ahead and get Dwayne going here. Get to see the elves start to pile up here. And yeah, these Fire Weavers that Wild Boar is playing, they're going to end the game really quick. Because they do 2 damage for every artifact and vehicle he plays at this point. So 2 damage, 2 more damage, so there's 4. So it's going to be 4 damage every time. 2 to each opponent, and since they share life, yeah, it's going to hurt. Alright, now he's going to attack with his 11/12 first striker, which the opponent can chump, but yeah, they're going to have to, and they're going to lose something. So they're just going to chump it with their zombie. And yeah, in the near future, pretty soon, I'll be showing off the vehicle deck that Wild Boar is playing. It's a lot of fun too. A really cool deck. Vehicles and artifacts are a lot of fun. But so are the elves. Cut. So he's going to destroy that 1/4, which he has no choice really. Because that creature makes Wild Boar's, all of Wild Boar's creatures have hexproof, so they can't be targeted. But now they can be targeted. So now he's going to target the 2/3. Splendid Agony as well, huh? Boy, he does not like those artifacts. I'm kind of surprised. I would have assumed he would have attacked my Elf Lord. And while all that was going on, the opponent there that has the 4/6 God sacrificed his creature so that he could attack, but he really doesn't have any good attacks. We'll see if he attacks. It's kind of a pointless move for him to sacrifice his creature if he's not going to attack. But yeah, it looks like our opponent's in big trouble here. I'm going to sacrifice this Blighted Steep just because I don't like us being at 16 life. And just like that, back up to 34. Good times. All those elves putting in work. And yeah, I think if Wild Boar just plays out some of his vehicles here, he's going to do 4 damage. And yeah, just playing one more is going to end the game. So that's the end. That's going to do 4 damage just by entering the field. So I might as well play Primal Bellows on his 10-11, make it gigantic. But yeah, we just burned our opponent out there with those Fire Weavers. Those things are dangerous. And the Elves riding vehicles are victorious. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Check out my main channel, East Guru Japan Gaming, for more awesome content. And we'll see you all in the next Magic Duels game. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. じゃあ皆さん、またね